Welcome back to the show, everyone. If you're like me, you really didn't watch any portion of the royal wedding at all. But if you're like Fiona and our next guest, you actually got up at 3 in the morning and watched the entire thing.
Of course, for all the pomp and the circumstance. And we have the one and only JoanE to tell us about the wedding highlights and maybe a couple lowlights.
JoanE, how are you?
I'm good.
So Mike said that you got up, but in reality, you stayed up.
I stayed up. But did you notice that I'm bigger than both of the football players that you just
I think they noticed too.
had on? I stayed up. There was a group of us that watched it, and we did the whole thing. We started like just before, I think, 12:30, and we watched all the way through till 5:30 a.m. when the Queen went back.
Now, I am relying on you to give me all the information that I missed on the royal wedding.
Let's start with the arrivals. The Beckhams, of course, much anticipated, the gorgeous couple.
The Beckhams were there?
She needs to smile. If I had that, and I mean that being him on my arm, I'd smile a little more. She looked rather dour.
She always does. But he has the Order of the British Empire, Michael. That's why they were there.
The OBE.
Yes.
Wow, you're quite right. Cool hat, though, but how is it staying on?
I mean, she should be feeling pretty happy because they didn't invite her because she sang, stop right there, thank you very much. She got invited because she's the wife of him.
Absolutely, but he looked dashing.
I read an interview once that she actually doesn't like her smile, which is why she never smiles, because she's a little self-conscious about it. And
well, she looks a little constipated, I think.
She really does. Now, of course, a Canadian connection at the wedding, Elton John and his spouse, of course, who is from Toronto. Tell us about Elton John and David.
The other queen in the room. On a serious note, I thought it was great that they got to go and that they got a good seat and that the camera seemed to go to them as much as anybody else and that they're an out gay couple who just adopted a child.
You told
and
us
there they were.
That the Queen of England actually gave them a wedding gift, which says a lot about the royal family.
Yeah, and when at the 25th anniversary, he was the only person at the big gala thing that performed in the palace. All the other performers performed outside. So.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
and they made a nice couple, and they were both smiling.
They smiled,
and the only part of the wedding that Mike has noticed is that Princess Catherine's sister Pippa looked rather beautiful.
Yes, I think all the straight men suddenly became a lot more interested in the wedding when she rolled out of the car.
Yeah, they are a very good-looking family, just as a general rule. They're
and very natural beauty.
Yeah,
very nice.
Except for Pippa's tan, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Pippa's tan. It's got a touch of orange to it.
I think somebody is going to be in trouble for getting up and saying, "Why don't we just put this little tan spray on you? It'll look really nice and warm."
But I thought they both looked beautiful.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
You can look at the pictures of those dresses 50 years from now, and it'll still be current and nice. I heard she did her own makeup.
Classic. Yeah.
And it was just nice, classic girl. Nothing too over the top. Nothing poofy or flouncy. Just
nothing to be embarrassed about in 10 years.
Nothing at all.
If there's something that could be described as poofy and flouncy at this wedding, I've seen a few pictures of the headgear. The hats were. I guess this is part of the tradition, yes?
It's not so freaky when you're in England. Oh, they're showing, this is what I call Fergie's revenge. This is Eugenie and Beatrice, who I think that because Princess Fergie did not get invited, she just handed the credit card to the girl and said, go.
Now explain to Michael. Michael does not know what a fascinator is.
Well, a fascinator is supposed to be fascinating, but sometimes it's a little over the top. These hats are thousands and thousands of dollars, and there are several designers in Britain who have the market cornered on them. And yeah, look at them.
And they're sanctioned by the royals, a couple of the designers that everybody's wearing.
Well, you have to wear a hat.
A fascinator is a headpiece.
It's a headpiece that's sort of like a hat, but you have to have something in your hair or head that is like a hat, or you can't really go to the wedding.
I thought in a church you weren't supposed to wear hats, which shows
when you're
the depth
a man.
of my knowledge.
The men arrive wearing the hat and take it off as they get in the door, and the women must wear their hat when they're in the door.
That to me is more of a challenge because then you've got hat head to deal with, and the girls
you and your
just
poor
get to
hair. Oh my God, how do you keep it all together? Harry and William arriving. Speaking of dashing. Two handsome princes.
Yes.
Yes.
You disagree?
Yes, absolutely wonderful. And what was really nice is that the last time a lot of people saw them coming up Pall Mall was at the funeral of their mother.
Yes.
So it was nice, no matter what you think of anything or the royal wedding or anything like that. It's just nice to see that two little kids can grow up and be in the same place years later at a much happier time. So.
And I heard part of Harry's speech to the groom after the wedding, part that was not broadcast, involved a great many jokes. jokes at his brother's hairline's expense as well, which is funny.
Yes, and I mean, it is interesting, of course, and much speculation has been drawn over the fact that Harry seems to be the one person who does not have the Windsor hairline.
Although I noticed there is a little something going on at the back.
Well, he's doing just fine, and I think the girls will all be clamoring for a
Marry me, Harry!
Yeah. Well, I don't.
No, you actually meant that.
Yeah, I think you did.
No, she actually meant that.
I didn't know that was going to be out loud. How embarrassing. Now the nuptials, of course, when they came down the aisle, and I mean, this is what we're talking about with the royal wedding. Some of us are old enough to have seen Princess Diana walk down the same aisle and experienced this once before, but it is just something we never see.
No, and this one was a lot more real. Like, there was little side moments when Harry turned to his brother and said, "Wait till you see her," and that he mouthed how beautiful.
And I think this moment right here, William said to Kate's father, "I thought we were just going to have a small family affair."
Yeah, it just seemed more real. The Diana and Charles one, when you look at the footage, it's kind of like two people that had just met on set at a movie shoot, and they're like, "Hi, we're going to get married now."
Yeah, and those two seem genuinely in love.
Yeah, well, they've lived together for 8 years or something like that. So I think,
which is surprising to me.
Well, it's a break in royal tradition, but as William said in the interview they did with that cute little blue dress she was wearing, that he said that they wanted to learn from the mistakes of the past. So I think they test drove that relationship for almost a decade.
Well, it was very romantic. Do you think they did the deed?
No.
No. The Queen.
She brought that up. I didn't.
I didn't. I meant the deed they had to sign later.
The deed, right.
Look at this.
For the properties.
The Queen just gave Kate the biggest once-over I've ever seen.
Big up and down.
Well, that was her last chance to check out the goods that just came into the family, I guess. A lot of people didn't like the Queen's dress, but I mean, what's the Queen going to come out in? Is she going to come out in a boob tube? I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
She wears her little...
It's something my grandmother would have worn.
Certainly.
It's
age appropriate.
It is age appropriate.
And the Queen... And, you know, everyone was talking about the fact...
Bananas in pajamas. Bananas in pajamas.
And after everything the royal family... Oh, my God, is that the Queen's husband behind
that's
there?
Camilla.
Look at, he's giving stink eyes.
No, that's not him.
Look at that.
No, that's one of the vicars.
Okay, but Camilla...
He just goosed Camilla, actually.
Totally. But everything the family's been through, the fact that Camilla is at this wedding, that's a little change in tradition as well, I would think.
Yeah, there's a moment when Camilla, or the Queen, Camilla curtsied to the Queen in Westminster Abbey, and I'm like, oh, well, that wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it's kind of nice. I mean, I guess they were just proves that love conquers all.
They were in love when they were young.
Okay,
Things
really
happened.
quick, I want to fast forward. I'm going to warn our control room to my favorite moment of the wedding is the kid that could have been me, the little girl.
I love her.
Grace. Apparently, Prince William's goddaughter has just stolen the internet.
You know, and I put my hands over my ears when straight couples start kissing.
I love over your ears. I don't even want to hear it. She has become, as Fiona mentioned, a, what do they call it, internet meme?
Meme.
Meme.
Yeah.
She's everywhere in every photo, but they
Cute
just
little
look
kid.
happy. That's nice.
Overall, what did you think, JoanE?
Absolutely wonderful. Well worth staying up, and hopefully it does for the British economy what the economy needs, because that's part of it. And, and I enjoyed it, and thank you for having me here to talk about it.
Absolutely. We want to tell people about a great event that you're doing that is celebrating 15 years.
15 years we've been doing Bingo for Life for the Vancouver Friends for Life Society. It's a great wellness center that helps people with life-threatening illnesses, including cancer, HIV, and AIDS. And we do it every week at Celebrities Nightclub, and last year it raised over $40,000 for Friends for Life. Yeah. And we're already up a little ahead this year, and it's 15 years. 15 years of calling bingo balls every week.
15 years.
15 years.
You're like
it's going to be my epitaph. No matter what I do, it's going to be, here lies Bingo Queen.
Well, if you'd like to see Bingo Queen, JoanE, you can do so. It is for a great cause. As we mentioned, it's May 18th, 8 p.m. at Celebrities Nightclub, celebrating 15 years.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Always a pleasure to see you.
I should curtsy.
I know. I felt like it bow some sort.
Curtsy to the Queen, Eckford.
We're going to take